It's all starting to make sense. The constant post.
For the first time since Caitlin Clark came, the Indiana Fever are pleading with fans to purchase tickets. There are still $280 seats available for preseason games, and whole sections of the home opener are unsold. Last year, this same team sold out in under an hour. In women's basketball, the same team is the most popular. Additionally, fans are explaining to them why they aren't purchasing, because they recall previously, they are not being duped again. Season, when you have the most popular property but can't sell it a week before the season begins. Player in women's basketball, does that imply that fans no longer have faith in the way your team is managing that player? Or are the only factors at play here the economy and ticket prices?
I've never seen them ask more. I've never seen them demand more. I've never seen them tweet more. When it comes to ticket sales and trying to sell out an arena, I have never seen the Indiana Fever ask more than they are asking now. And I am beginning to...
Since this is one of those circumstances, let's discuss the current state of Indiana Fever ticket sales. Where the business rejects the findings of the data, there have been announcements from the Fever. The consistent availability of tickets, they are tweeting, this is being brought to people's attention, they are putting forth more effort. More than before to entice spectators to purchase tickets, and for a team like Caitlin Clark, this is absolutely unheard of. On the roster, all of the tickets were sold out in a matter of minutes during the first 2 years of the Caitlin Clark era. It will be the end of the first year, the same thing happened in the second year. No tickets may be held by the Fever for a long time, everyone was rushing to play games, the secondary market was crazy. Due to the great demand, it was nearly impossible to get tickets at face value. That was Caitlin's impact. Clark, the Indiana Fever are the most sought-after team in the WNBA because they have the best draw. In women's basketball.
Let us all know, tickets are moving a little slowly for the Indiana Fever. When you compare it to the first year, flew off the shelves. When you compare it to the second year, #now you know, flew off the shelves. They couldn't keep them long enough. Now, we are a week away from preseason. A lot of tickets available. We are about 2 weeks away from the regular season. A lot of tickets available. Not only are they available, but the Indiana Fever, these tickets are high. Like, I wouldn't spend that much money on.
However, there are a ton of tickets available given that the preseason and regular season are only 1 week away. It's not only nosebleeds on seats done on a weekday in 2 weeks, these aren't your usual games. In a segment of the opening game of home versus, there is absolutely nothing for the Dallas Wings. Seats are still available. For more than $100 in the top deck, the chairs behind the intermediate parts cost between $300 and $400. The bench was priced between $700 and $900, and no one is purchasing. Even worse, the cost of preseason tickets varies. From $100 and $280. Rotations are tested in countless preseason practice games, and starters are limited to a few minutes. The Fever also charges $280 for certain seats, for simply exalted games. Scrimmages, the expense is absurd. The charges are also being denied by fans. The economics will now be discussed. By those who support the Fever, the cost of living has increased, the price of gasoline has increased, and travel is costly. It's true that the supermarket doesn't care. Discretionary expenditures, like purchasing sports tickets. Events, economic factors undoubtedly have an impact, that is undeniable. Here's the problem, though, the previous year. The economics was also difficult. Although inflation has long been a problem, last season's tickets were still sold out right away. What has changed, then? Why are more tickets being purchased this year? Last year, were you prepared to make big payments? The solution is trust, or more precisely, the total disillusionment of the fan base due to their treatment of Caitlin Clark during the previous season.
The juice worth the squeeze, especially when you don't know the role of your favorite player. People remember last year. Day to day, and they would spend tickets and spend money and spend.
Let's also discuss what transpired the previous year, which is the reason why many people are today hesitant to purchase tickets. Caitlin Clark suffered harm. Her circumstance caused the staff to go into daily mode. In every game, there was uncertainty. Is she having fun? Does she not have fun? It wasn't found until just before tip-off. Additionally, after purchasing tickets weeks or months in advance, supporters would arrive at events to discover that Clark was not participating.
Caitlin Clark. Stephanie White said before the game that the fact that she is day-to-day means that the imaging she got today is good news.
According to the fan in the source material, they purchased tickets in advance, went to Indianapolis with a companion, they were lodging at a motel across the street from the arena, and their favorite players weren't playing. It's a terrible experience. You are responsible for paying the airfare, you purchase tickets, make hotel reservations. You put in a lot of time and effort to watch Caitlin Clark in action that she's not even inside the building when you arrive. Another admirer claimed the following: following Caitlin's mishap, they had a costly evening in Indianapolis, bought tickets at exorbitant prices at the beginning of the season, and attended 4 games with their family. In order to avoid being burned again this year they are likewise adopting a wait-and-see strategy. A moment ticket sales are being killed by such attitude, fans recall being taken advantage of. They recall having the impression that the organization was pulling them around and using Caitlin Clark as a circus to maintain attention and attendance levels high due to the Fever's behavior. They would say that Caitlin will be back soon. Tickets for that game will be purchased by fans. Then, just before the game, they would add, in reality, she needs another week or 2. However, the Fever already had the money after the tickets were sold. Fans were also greeted by a smaller lineup. Who attended games were eager to see Clark, and by August, injuries had completely destroyed the team. But fan had already promised to pay, they had already made investments and had plans in place to see the basketball game of Caitlin Clark, and the company exploited it by forcing supporters to wait for daily status updates, and ambiguous injury updates never provided them with accurate information on the profitability of their financial commitment.
Craziest thing about this last groin injury with Caitlin Clark is how it's been covered. The day after she had the groin injury, she was listed as day-to-day. And then a couple weeks after that, then she was listed to being out indefinitely. Now, ESPN had August 12th as the circled return date for Caitlin Clark to get back onto the court. And just yesterday, she was listed as a game time decision for today's game against the Dallas Wings. And then after practice yesterday, Coach Stephanie White basically came out and said, like, no, Caitlin Clark hasn't even been practicing. So they changed it from a game time decision to her being out. This has been all over the place, and I get it to a certain extent. The fans, the media does not need to know every little thing that's going on with Caitlin Clark's injuries, especially a star player like that. We will never know all the information, nor should we know all the information, and that's actually good for Caitlin. It protects her for when she does come back on the court. She can't be targeted. Teams can't use a certain injury or ailment against her if people don't really know what is going on. But the reporting of her timeline in general, there has been no rhyme or reason to what has been shared.
Regarding people, keep in mind that you cannot expect your clientele to return the following year with open wallets if you treat them terribly. It's difficult to establish trust in that way, but it's simple to undermine it. The Indiana Fever's reputation was significantly damaged by Caitlin Clark's accident and the details surrounding it from the previous season, and it also extends beyond the management of wounds. The team used Clark on the court while she was well. Supporters would expect that Caitlin, as the best player in women's basketball, Clark would lead the attack, make plays, score points, and carry out each of those actions. Rather, they would watch her exercise and run about off the ball. From the corners, they would keep an eye on her. Stephanie White would be watched by additional guards as they handled the play her like a little forward on the ball. Toc Caitlin Clark's experience, fans paid a premium. What was a show starring Stephanie White? They received, where the coach's suggestion on how to capitalize on Caitlin Clark's unique qualities was subordinated to the moment has come to play hoops. Fans also recall it. What was the cost of seeing Caitlin Clark set screens? Is what they recall thinking. Include anything that has